Hello guys, my name is Desmond and I welcome you to my lesson for today where we'll be looking at your mathematics, obviously number pattern. So ladies and gentlemen, please do allow me to say it is very much important that I say it is very much important because what I'm about to say, it's massively massively important, ladies and gentlemen, that I say a day without learning something new, it's a day wasted. I so say, please do make sure that by the end of each and every lesson that I conduct, you learn something new. Very much important, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so now remember, corrections, it's what we'll be doing in today's lesson. We'll be looking at the corrections of grade 11 test under number pattern. So as always, I'm pretty much sure that all of you guys are well aware of the process that we follow. So I'll still do the same there to say, firstly, you need to know the type. Secondly, it's either you find the difference or the ratio, and then from there, lastly, that's when you can approach the questions. So let's quickly have a look at what we are dealing with over there. So let's see, already it has been indicated that we're dealing with a quadratic pattern, so it makes our life very much easy. So now, since we know we are dealing with a quadratic, let's try to find the second common difference. So obviously, this is what you are going to say. Very much important, ladies and gentlemen, that you take into consideration that negative. So that means you're having negative 6 minus into negative 9. I'm getting 3. I'm not sure what you guys are getting, but I'm getting 3 there. And then when you say 1 minus negative 6, it gives me 7. So when I say that minus that, it gives me 7. So what about 12 minus 1? It's obviously 11. Okay, so we're getting 11. So let's check if we get a common second difference. What is that minus that? I think that is 4. And then what is that minus that? Also, I think that is 4. So this is a very good indication that what we are dealing with there, it's actually a quadratic number pattern. Good people, what makes it to be a quadratic number pattern? It is because of the second common difference. Remember, what we have just done there is what we call the first difference, and then that it is the second common difference. You remember, Mzozozo, we've been discussing this many times in our lessons. I'm pretty much sure that almost everyone at this stage, they understand exactly how to identify a quadratic number pattern. So can you guys see, we did what we had to do. We know what the type of a pattern is because we were told in the given statement. Most importantly, we did calculate the second common difference, which is 4. So we can put a tick on that. So we are now at a stage where we need to do the calculations. Our very first question being 3.1, it says determine the value of x. Determine the value of x, and this question is allocated 1 mark. Umi, please remind me to give you guys the code for today's lesson before I sign out. So I will give it in the middle of the lesson, but just in case, if you guys hear me saying I'm about to sign out without giving you guys a code, please at all the times remind me so that you can fill in the register. Okay, so now let's quickly check what the question says. It says determine the value of x. Where is x? Okay, there it's x. So that means we need to give the actual value of x. How do you do that? Remember, guys, you always start from the bottom, working it up to that point. So you do know very well that you need to have a common second difference. So it has to be 4 there. How do you know? It's because this is a quadratic pattern and the second difference, it is common, of which in this case is 4. So for you to find that, this is where you will say that plus 4. And what is that? I think that is 15. So that means you will need to say 12 plus 15. It has to give you that value. What is that value? So now that plus that, I think, is 27. So that means the x value is actually 27. So that's what you need to do in order to provide an answer to that question. So that means with you having done all of that, and finally saying your 3 point, what is it? Your 3.1. Let me quickly check something there. With you saying x is equals to 27, you give yourself a mark for that. So very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen, that even though this question is allocated 1 mark, you need to do that exercise. Why do you need to do that? It's because this gives us the confidence that you did not borrow your answer from next door. If you just write 27, it feels like you copied it somewhere. So that's how easy that question is. I'm pretty much sure that everyone understands that because we have done this type of problems many times. But maybe let me check. Anyone who's got a question, Bantu Bagiti, or are we all on the same page on that one? I'm not sure if you guys can clearly hear me. Guys, are we all on the same page on that one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so give yourself a mark where you say x is equal to 27. If you got it incorrectly, give yourself a 0. So let me see. I think this test, it was out of 25. So that means you are going to be marking out of 25. So let's move on to question 3.2, which says determine a formula for the nth term of the pattern. This is what happens, honorable member. There's a question paper which was sent in the group. So this question that I'm reading is in that group. So if you have 2 devices, if you've got a cell phone and a tablet, you can forward that question paper to your tablet so that you read on the question and then you can see on the other device where I'm writing. So this question, which says determine a formula for the nth term, is allocated 4 marks. And you do know very well that the moment examiner says the formula for the nth term, you ask yourself, what type of a pattern am I dealing with? It's a quadratic. Okay, since it's a quadratic, this is the general formula that I know as far as quadratic is concerned. So because they are saying determine the nth term, so that means they want you to determine the A value, the B value, and the C value. And I'm pretty much sure, Pindi, that you do remember very well that for us to determine the nth term or an equation of a quadratic number pattern, we do not need all of that. We only need these, and that. That's all that we need. We do know the formula for that. It's actually 2a, it's equated to that. being 4 in this case. And again, maybe let me give myself enough space. And again, we do know that for this one is 3a plus b is equated to whatever that value is. In this case, it is 3. Then we are now going to equate that to this equation being a plus b plus c, it's equals to, what is that value there? In this case, it is -9. You guys might not be aware that actually what we are doing there, it is actually to solve simultaneously. That's what we are basically doing. We are solving for A, B, and C simultaneously. But this one is very much easy because you divide by 2 on both sides, so that that cancels, and then you have your A value being equals to 2. So you did that to substitute your value where you see A to calculate the B value. So that times that, it's equals to 6. You take it to the other side, it's more like you're saying B, it's equals to 3 minus 6, which is equals to -3. So can you see, you have your A value being 2, your B value being that. You substitute there. So it's more like you're having 2 minus 3 plus c equals to -9. So obviously 2 minus 3 is the same as -1. You take it to the other side, it's more like you're saying c is equals to -9 plus 1, which is equals to -8. So that's all that you needed. And I noticed some of you guys, you left it here. And guess what? Because you left it there, give yourself only 3 marks. 1 mark for that, 1 mark for that, 1 mark for that. Don't give yourself a mark for what is it? Don't give yourself the 4th mark because you did not write the formula. This is now the formula that examiner wanted. 2n squared. It won't be a plus because there your b value is a negative value. That's why you write -3n and then -8. So now this is the final answer. By so doing, if you wrote that being the formula, give yourself the 4th mark. So guys, be careful. The question did not say find the value of A, B, and C, but they said the nth term, which is the formula. And they've also indicated in the statement to say determine a formula. Be careful of that. So anyone who's got a question in relation to that? Anyone with a question in relation to that?
Sir.
No question. Okay. So quickly, let's have a look at question number 3.3. And let's see what a question says. It says a new pattern. Listen very carefully. A new pattern, a PN, is formed by adding 3 to each term in the given quadratic pattern. Write down the general term of Pn in the form Pn is equals to an squared plus bn plus c. And this question is allocated only 1 mark. Only 1 mark. I'm not sure, Bantu Bagiti, if there's anyone who would like to actually suggest how do we possibly answer this question. Anyone who's got an idea of how to approach a question similar to that? Okay. Mzozozo, this is what you might need to think of. Remember, this being the formula for that original number pattern. The moment you start adding, a value, it's more like to this original equation being Tn it's equals to 2n squared minus 3n minus 8. To this original equation, what you are actually doing is to add 3. That's what that statement is saying. You are adding 3 to the original equation. So just always remember that in case if a question comes and they might not say you add 3 to every term, it could be adding of a 4, adding of 5, adding of 1 over 2, subtracting of 10, subtracting of 17. If it's subtracting, then it means it's going to be a minus there. But because here we are adding, so it's more like this thing. Can you see? These are the only two numbers that you can work them out together, because this is 2n squared is not common to what you are adding with. This is 3n is not common to what you are adding with. But this is a number, this is a number. That is why you end up having 2n squared minus 3n. What is negative 8 plus 3? Is it not negative 5? So this is the end of it. That is why it is even allocated 1 mark. So the tricky part here is them saying each term is being added by 3. So you need to know what you do with that 3. I'm not sure if everyone understands what I'm trying to explain there. Remember, guys, in case if it doesn't make sense, please do make sure to feel free to ask for a re-explanation.
So please re-explain.
Again.
Maybe let me try to bring that and say this is what we originally had. Tn is equals to 2n squared. Let's see, minus 3n minus 5. The pindies there, no, it was minus 8. There we are on the same page on that one, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Obviously from that original thing, and we saw that exit was 20, was it 27 or 26? Let me quickly confirm. Yes, 27. Okay, so now examiner is saying a new pattern Pn is formed by adding 3 to each term in the given quadratic pattern. So it's more like examiner saying from that original, you just add 3 to each term. What will the new pattern look like? So can you see there you have negative 9, you just add 3, it gives you negative 6. So that means you are having negative 6 there. And then there you add 3, I think it's going to give you negative 3. There you add 3, I think it's going to give you 4. There you add 3, I think it's going to be 15. There you add 3, it's going to be 30. So this is now the new pattern that is formed when from this original being that one, you add 3. So when you add 3 to that, you end up having that. So they are asking, what is the Tn, the formula for this new pattern? You can actually do it in 2 ways, but the other way it's going to be a long try. It's more like you will still redo this, but you will end up getting the same answer. You can still say this minus bada, da bada, da bada, da bada. And then you still do the bada, the bada, the bada. Then you make use of those to find the A, B, and C. But it's going to take you back to this. But The shortest way, the pendis, since they said you are adding 3 to that, you just rewrite this exactly as it is, being 2n squared minus 3n minus 8. You just add 3, then you simplify. You end up having what is it? Yes, that. Because when you punch that on a calculator, it gives you -5. If maybe they said you subtract what is it, 3 from each term, that means here you're going to have a minus. Then you end up having minus that, and it becomes -11. Then this is now your new equation. So that means here for each term you minus 3 there. What is it? I think it's going to be -12. And then you do the same for all of those. That's if you want to see how the new pattern looks like, and if you want to do that. I'm not sure the pending. Does it make sense now, honorable member? The omis,
Yeah.
are you happy that side? Ngwana Mameji, ya kwala ka mo. I couldn't clearly hear that, but I suppose it makes sense. Remember, case if you've got a question, please make sure to ask. So let's see. 3.4, it says which term of the sequence found in 3.3 found in question 3.3 has a value of 400. They are asking which term of the sequence found in question 3.3 has a value of 400. Anyone who'd like to guess, how can we possibly work out this one?
Won't you put 400 and equate it to the formula that we just found?
What does the formula say? Who's speaking there?
Visa.
Okay, so what is the formula saying, the V?
2n squared minus 3n minus 15.
What did you say there, honorable member? Can you repeat? Can you repeat?
2n squared minus 3n minus 5. That one is equal to 4.
Okay,
yeah. 400,
that is
sorry.
100% correct. So 2n squared minus 3n minus 5. This is the one that you equated to 400. Why do you equate it to that one? It's because examiner said, what did they say? They said, which term of the sequence found in question 3.3, and the formula for 3.3, it is this one which says Tn is equals to 2n squared minus 3n minus 5. That is why you use exactly that. So you will realize that if you got this one wrong, automatically you will get hammered on this question. So can you guys see? This is a quadratic equation. So you need to rewrite it in the standard form. This is what you are having. Obviously, -5 minus 400. What will that be? I think that will be, what is it? -405. Thanks, so. So now you need to factorize this. Anyone who's got the factors, I'm pretty much sure that you guys remember how we get the factors of a quadratic equation. We've done this many times since the 2nd of January when we started with our very first lesson. So remember the UMIS, as I always say, at this stage, we are not teaching you how to solve the problems, but how to apply your understanding. We assume you know how to calculate. If you don't, remember to catch up on the previous lessons. Okay, so anyone who's got an answer? Or are you still calculating?
Still calculating.
Silence in court. Still calculating. Pembeli, why is it like you're watching Skim Sami there? I don't hear the sound of a calculator. Kwenze njani lapho? But wait, Unthatile, sure? Are you questioning what we are doing there, honorable member? Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I don't trust you, honorable member. Why do I not trust you, honorable member? So remember, there's a reason to everything. So just in case if you are getting confused, I'm well aware that you might be attending my lesson for the very first time. So we have actually gone through this chapter from the beginning. We are very, very far. So we're just doing the corrections now, but we're actually on functions. So that means on your next lesson, you'll be attending a function. So don't be surprised that today we are on number pattern and then next thing on function. So we're just doing corrections of a test which was written on Saturday. So just make sure that at the end of this lesson, send me an inbox and I'll show you where to catch up on our previous lesson so that you're also on the same page. But most importantly, in case if you get lost, you don't understand something, raise your hand and it will be clearly explained. I'm pretty much sure that honorable members are done calculating. Guys, what are the factors? Remember to mute your mic, honorable member. Okay, well done. So, what are the factors?
Sir, I'm getting 13.5.
Hey, okay, 13.5, and what else?
Negative 15.
Sir, I got
Yes.
negative 15 and positive 27.
Hey, ngathi kuzazoshuwa la utholene negative 15 and positive 27. Yay. The maumis.
I also have negative 15 and positive 27.
Hey bana. Kwenze njani? You see, now I'm getting different answers. And I'm suspecting the umis got the correct answer. I'm going to work it out myself. Let's see. You start with a fraction button and say negative into, what is our b? Our b, it's negative 3, you close, and then you say plus square root of b inside the brackets is negative 3, you squared, minus 4a is 2. What is your c? It's negative 405, you close. At the bottom you have 2 into 2. I'm getting positive 15. So this positive 15, remember, I said it's your final answer when you get it there. So that means your final answer is positive 15. Then you're having, or you go back to edit that plus, and then you delete, you put a minus there. I'm getting negative 27 over 2. So that means this is the other possible value, which is negative 27 over 2. So that means the factors for this one is n and then the negative sign or the opposite sign. Because it's positive here, you write it as negative inside the brackets. And then here, this value at the bottom is the one that you attach it to that. So it's more like you had n minus 15, it was equals to 0. Or this one, for it to end up looking like that, is because you had 2n. You take that, the other side is positive 27, it was equated to 0. So that when you take these to the other side, it becomes negative. You divide by 2, it's more like it's negative 27. So you take this exactly as it is, and then you put it inside the bracket. So this requires practice, Bantu Bagiti. The maumis, remember that. Now you've got two values. Do you guys remember what I said about the value of n? Anyone who can tell? Uguchi, ngitheni. What did I say about the value of n?
Okay, I remember. N is not supposed to have any commas or...
Umi has started an initiative. Anyone to continue with that movement, Bantu Bagiti? Who can complete that? Okay, so at all the times when you calculate n, it should never be a negative value, a fraction, or a decimal. So that means you are going to say this one, you can decide to cross it like that, or you can say not applicable, meaning n is 15. What does it mean? It means a term number 15, it is the one which is 400. If you remember, we were saying stand number 15, it is the one that has 400 people staying in there. I'm not sure if you guys have got a question in relation to that, but this is where you are getting yourself 4 marks. I think for you to equate that, I will give you a mark. And most definitely, for you to write that in the standard form, I'm telling you guys, I'm going to give you a mark. And as always, with you getting the correct factors, I will give you a mark there. And most importantly, for you to say it is actually 15, which is equals to n, and not this one of a fraction, because it will never be equal to n. Anyone who's got a question there, Bantu Bagit? A question? No question.
No, sir.
Okay. So now let's quickly move on to the next question. Yes, I'll need to remove all of that. Remember, this was out of 25. So what happens is as soon as you mark your script, in the end, you will send me an inbox to say, what is it? 13 over 25. That's how much you got. Then I'll be able to tell who got a lowest mark. So from those lowest marks, I'm going to then pay attention and check how can I possibly assist you. But if you don't mark your script correctly and give yourself more marks, I will be able to see that. But you are not helping yourself in doing that. Don't be ashamed of your lower marks. If you got 0, it is an indication that you understood 0%. Therefore, I need to make sure that I explain better next time. But it's in most cases where someone gets 0 because of those silly mistakes, not because you do not know, because almost everything that I'm doing, we have already done that. It's just a repetition. I'm well aware that the Umis did confirm that in most cases she makes a minor mistake, but those minor mistakes are very costly. So that's how you learn Bantu Bagiti. Never get too excited when you get totals and whatever. If you do, be happy only if you know that you do practice a lot. Okay, let's see. Here they are saying given the linear pattern, which is equals to all of that. Guys, the moment you start hearing the word linear, just know they are saying total. They're saying take total. Tata zonke. Okay, so now we are having, before we even go to 4.1.1, remember, what type of a pattern is that? We are told that it is a linear pattern. That means we don't need to struggle to try and test what type of a pattern is that. So now, that means straight away we can try to work out the difference. Let's quickly try to work out the difference and check if we are getting the common difference. So let's see. What do you get when you say da ba da? What is da ba da? I think da ba da, it gives you a -4, but not 4. And you say da ba da, it also gives you -4. This is a mistake that one did. They just saw 18 and 14 there. And the Maomis, they wrote 4 as the difference, and they got hammered big time. Bantubagiti. Imagine having to repeat a grade because you did not pay attention to say 14 minus that. It gives you -4 and not +4. So always remember that the moment you say smaller number minusing a bigger number, you always get a negative value there. Just be careful of that. So now, let's see. So it is a confirmation that we are having a common difference. So now that means we can go and look at the questions. Let's see. 4.1.1. It has to be an easy. Can you see? Write down the 4th term. I'm pretty much sure that most of you guys are already being bored. You are really getting bored because these things are very much easy. So that means you are going to say 10 plus -4. Some they got the common difference of -4 correctly, but they failed to get the negative and the 4th term. So they just see a 10 and 4 and they say 14, whereas it is supposed to be 6. So that's how you score yourself 1 mark. But just try to write it there. Say term number 4, it is equals to 6. Just to show that you're coming from good hands. Don't just leave it like that. Anyone who's got a question in relation to, I think that one was easy, Bantubaki. That was very much easy. So let's see if we can find a difficult. So here, 4.1.2, they say determine a formula for the general term of the pattern. And this one is allocated 2 marks. So, Mzozozo, the moment they say determine the formula, just remember the general formula of a linear. Is it not Tn? It's equals to A plus into n minus 1 and then a D. So what you need to now do is to substitute your A value there. It's 18 plus your n, that, and then also you are having that. So you just simplify all of that. You're having 18. Let's see. Dhabada. What is that? This is -4n. Dhabada is +5, which is equals to, what is dhabada? I think that is
How is that
23
+5?
minus. Let's see. So it's more like you're saying, hey, what am I smoking? Thembelihle Jafelo. Hey, bantu bakithi. Kwenzeka ntoni apha? So let's also add that as a possible mistake to say ucabanga ukuthi ungcono, you're no longer using a calculator, but can you see how you get hammered? It has to be positive 4, and also it affects that next step. It is not supposed to be. So let's see, it's positive 4 name. So that means what will this be? Will it be 22? Yes. So you end up having that. So that means what are we having there? Where are you getting your marks? I'm not sure. It's just 2 marks, guys. I think I'm going to give you a mark for correct substitution and then a mark for your final answer. So just make sure that you substitute correctly and you present your final answer nicely. Please, Bantu Bagiti, write neatly. Don't write as if there was a bomb while you were writing exam and you want to try and quickly write and run away. Guys, make sure to write neatly, and it starts from you practicing alone, having a question paper and a memo, and then you check how they present their final answer. Matapelo, towards the end of this lesson, remember to remind me, show everyone how to check question papers in that new group. Just remind me that. And also the code for today, Bantu Bagiti, I think you just say out and you put a full stop there. Mzozozo, I noticed yesterday you did not put a full stop there. If you don't put a full stop, someone is going to just also write out and you won't be sure if they attended or not. So let's make sure that if it's out with a full stop. So that will be the code for marking an attendance register for today's lesson. So now let's quickly move on to 4.1.3. So let's see, write a term of the pattern. Which term of the pattern will have a value of -70? Also 2 marks. Let's see. This is where you know that you're calculating for n, and n will never be a fraction, a negative, or a decimal. So let's see. That means you can take the whole of that, being 22 minus 4, and equate it to that being -70. So you just solve for that. So let's see. Take it to the other side. What is that? I think it's 70, 80, 90. Then it's going to be -92. Let's see. Then you end up having n being equals to. Does 4 go into that? Hey, we mustn't get a fraction. Let's see. Oh, yes, it does. And we get a positive value. So how many marks? 2. So give yourself a mark there and also a mark there. I'm feeling that you guys got a distinction for this question. This was an exam question paper, Bantu Bagiti. So almost all of our tests, you'll be writing exam question papers. This prepares you to your final examination so that you know the level of difficulty. So even when you'll be writing your test on functions, you will still be writing on exam questions. So I think just to make sure that we pace, we might also need to make sure that we push on the weekends. I think on the weekends, that's when I can actually do some master classes. Maybe where on a Saturday, for example, I do for 10s and 11, and then Sunday 11 and 12s. It depends on who's available to attend, but most importantly, that will benefit you. You just need to learn all the possible tricks. We consolidate all the possible tricks. We learn those and make sure that in May we are completely done. We will have to discuss in terms of what next to tackle after functions. I'm just not sure whether we go to analytical geometry or trigonometry, but I'm pretty much sure that trigonometry is also one of the challenging chapters, of which we might need to make sure that we start with that as soon as possible. So let's see. A question that follows after this one. What are they saying there? If this linear pattern forms the first difference of a quadratic pattern, Qn, determine the first difference between Q509 and Q510. Yes, what are they saying here? What are they saying? If this linear pattern, where, okay, that one, yes, okay, if this linear pattern forms the first differences of a quadratic pattern, Q, and determine the first difference between Q. Hey, it also helps that as you read that, the UMIS, you also try to write something. You will notice that when you read and write something, that's when it starts to make sense. So they're saying, assume this to be the first differences of a quadratic number. So that means you are having a quadratic number pattern doing all of that, all of that, all of that. But that one, it is the first difference. So that means the first difference, you are having 18, you are having that, you are having that, and I think that will be that. And then you obviously know that you still have that. Of which is what? I think obviously it is -4, it is still -4, it is still -4. So that means you can use that information. I'm just not sure if you can use that information to therefore derive or determine those, but I think you can. Maybe let's now continue with our question and see what they want. So they're saying determine the first difference between Q509 and Q510. Why is it like this question is just confusing but not difficult? I'm trying to think, guys. Is this question really difficult, or they're just playing us here on Dibagiti? What is going on here, guys? Hey, guys, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is what happens. If you remember, do you guys still remember that this is actually a linear pattern, regardless of them saying it is the first difference of a quadratic and whatever and whatever? We know that this is a linear pattern, and we have a formula for that. Since the question is saying determine the first difference of Q 509 and Q 510. How about we try to calculate the value for that and that? How about we maybe do that? And then from there, we might need to therefore work out something that can assist us to get to that value. So if you remember, let's see, we are having a Tn being equals to, what is it? Is it 22 minus 4n? I think yes. That is the formula. So the question now is, what is term number 509 and term number 510? I think I underestimated this question. I think I underestimated this question. But maybe let me try to think of it. So it's more like we want to know what will that be, being 510 and then that being a 509. We want to end up saying Q510 minus Q509. So we need to know what is the difference between those two. And if we say this minus that, it therefore has to give us a value for that term. And what is that value? That value is going to be a term number 509. I'm just thinking I'm going to explain what I'm saying now, Bantu Bakiti, so don't really worry that much. I'm just trying to check how easy I can explain that. Okay, maybe let me say this. Because I now see when I formulate this thing. Sure, yeah, it might be a bit tricky to explain this. Okay, remember guys, Q509 and Q550, it is those terms on the quadratic pattern. But you need to say, when you say term number 510 minus term 505, it has to give you this value, which is the value of the first difference of those two terms. The question is, what term number is that? If you can know that, that's when you will understand what is meant by that question. What term number is this one?
One.
If someone is saying something, can you guess there, Honorable? What did you say there?
1.
Okay, someone is saying 1. Okay, let me try to re-explain again. Let me try to re-explain again. This is what happens, the Umis. Maybe the Umis, let's speak. Unmute your mic, let's speak. Let's say you are having 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then you have the first difference being this minus that. What are you getting there, the Umis?
2.
Is 2. Yes, is 2. So these two, let's now talk. This is what I'm saying. Agree? We said term number 2 being 4. We subtracted term number 1 and it gave us 2. So the question is, what term number is this? Being the term number for the first difference. It's term number 1, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, now let's speak. When we say this term minus that term, it gives us a value. What is that value? It's
2
also
again.
2. Yes. So notice something. We said term number 3 minus term number 2. That is equals to term number what of the first difference?
Term number 2.
Yes. Let's do it again. Let's maybe check this one. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this question, it's more like they're saying, what are you getting when you say term number 5 minus term number 4? So term number 5 minus term number 4 is equals to term number what of the first difference? So it's more like you're saying this term minus that term. This term minus that term is equals to term number what of the first difference?
Term number 3.
Let's see. 1, 2. No. There I disagree the Umis.
Term number
2. If you said term number 2, I still disagree. So this is where the tricky part comes. I deliberately skipped that minus that because this minus that, it also gives you 2. But this is term number 3. This was term number 1, this was term number 2, this is term number 3, this is term number 4. It also gives you 2. I'm not sure if you understand the Umis.
Yes, I understand from them. Until they understand it.
So it's actually a bit tricky, this question, but I think I'm glad we got such a tricky question where you guys need to learn from this type of tricky questions. Let me just warn everyone that there might be load shedding from my side starting now at 8 o'clock, but let me just have my backup ready there just in case if Eskom into adumengazo. Okay, so the tricky part in this question is that you need to realize that if you say term number 5 minus term number 4, this is actually equals to term number 4. For the first difference, just like you did with that one, it's more like you're saying term number 2 minus term number 1. What is that equals to? It's equals to term number 1 of the first difference. So it's more like whatever value that, if you are saying term number 510 minus term number 509, that means this is equals to term number 509. It is the same principle. It's more like whatever the term value, when you subtract whatever that you subtract, that is actually equals to a term, that same term of the first difference. Sure. I'm not sure if I'm confusing you with this one before we go to our main question, guys. You need to make sure that you fully understand this one, because if you don't,
Thank you, sir. I understand now.
You won't understand the question that we actually face. But does it make sense to everyone? Okay. Chances are, in case if it doesn't make sense to everyone, remember, it is not our last time doing this. We will still have to revisit it. But most importantly, to have a better understanding, that means you will need to practice some more. But this is where it gets interesting. Let's Hey, are you still there, Bantu Bagit?
Yes.
So, is it equals to term 510 or term 509 based on what I've explained? So, if you remember, number 2 minus term number 1. This is equals to term number 1 of this first difference, T1. So that means this is going to be a term 509. So it's more like this has to be the same as that. And we can use the formula that we have for this to determine a term number 509. That term number 509, it is going to be the value for the difference of this minus that. Yeah, I think this was a very tricky question. I think we will need to sometime revisit this question. But if you remember, what is the equation for this? Is it not Tn, which is equals to, what was it? I think it was 22 minus 4n. And in this case, we're looking for term number 509. So term number 509, it's going to be equals to 22 minus 4 into what is it? 509. Then you punch all of that. The answer that you get, it is the difference between these two values. What are you getting there? Anyone who already got an answer for that? Let me see.
14.
What is it?
14.
Yes, negative 2014. So that means if we continue with this pattern, whereas we include that, when we get to term number, what is it, 509 and also 510, and we take this value and subtract that value, this is what we are going to get. I hope I'm correct. Yes, because this value that we calculated is actually the difference between these two values. Yes. I doubt there's someone who got this one correct. This is where you score yourself some marks. Obviously, for your final answer. And then from there, for you to apply that understanding, you also give yourself a mark there. But I don't think there's anyone who got it correct. And it does happen that in some questions, you find not difficult, but just confusing. I also used to come across such questions, but what I would do is not to give up, just understand how it was done. If I don't understand, you consult with the teacher, just to check what exactly is going on there. Then once you understand, you will always be aware that there might be a question which is not difficult, but a bit confusing. So I'm pretty much sure that the UMIS, in case if something similar comes, you have some options to try and check if what I've done there can be applicable. But most importantly, since we are not doing this for the last time, we will still have to look at some more complicated questions. I'm pretty much sure that you will also learn something out of those questions that we'll be looking at. So maybe quickly, let's try to move on to that next question. So give yourself some marks there. If you did not get those, give yourself a very big 0 with a smile on your face. So let's see. The next question being 4.2. It says a quadratic pattern has a constant second difference of 2. A quadratic pattern has a constant second difference of 2. So already the UMIS, this is what you might need to do to say it has a constant second difference of 2. So that means there's obviously something there of which you don't know what that is, something there you don't know what that is. There are some things in between. Second difference of and they continue to say term number 5 it's equals to 29, and again term number 17. This type of questions are a bit tricky, Bantu Bagiti, a bit tricky. So let's see, they're saying, does this pattern have a minimum or a maximum value? Justify the answer. Yes. Guys, how are we going to work out this one? Sizoyenza kanjani lento le bantu bakithi? Anyone who's got an idea of how can we possibly work out that? Okay, I'm going to help you to answer this question. So, Zozozo, that means if you don't know how a maximum function looks like, let me maybe do it this way and say, remember, a quadratic, it's actually that function which is a sad or a smiling. So it has a minimum value and it has a maximum value. Maybe let's try to simplify it in this format to say if you are given a quadratic pattern, the UMIS, and your A value is greater than 0, that means you have a smiling shape, because that means you have a positive A value and then your mood is smiling. But if you have your A value being less than 0, that means you actually have a negative A value, meaning you are sad. So that's why you're having a sad shape. So the question is, can we be able to calculate the A value for that given number pattern? Yes or no? Because once you know the state of that A value, you can tell whether it has a maximum or a minimum. But the question is, can we be able to determine or calculate the A value of that given pattern? Remember, guys, if you are not sure, say no idea, so that I'll be aware that you got my question, but you don't know what the answer is, so that I can explain.
Yes.
Nadi, okay. Moleboge, are you there, honorable member? Moleboge is there, and she's tempted to say I'm not there.
No,
But I know she's there.
No, I said I am here. I've just entered the lesson. I've said I'm here.
Okay. Be the savior. Do you remember, Moleboge? We said if you have this value, you can equate it to a formula which is 2a. Do you still remember, Moleboge?
Yes, I still remember.
Okay, so now if we want to solve for or calculate for that a value, will it not be what is it? Divided by 2, that cancels. What will the a value be? Will it not be positive 1?
It will be positive 1.
Yes. So positive 1, is it under minimum or maximum on my table?
It's under minimum. You say the positive 1, it's under minimum, the table, where a is greater than 0.
So now the question is saying, does this pattern, maybe you missed the pattern, but this pattern, which has a constant second difference of 2, does this pattern have a minimum or maximum value? And they say justify your answer. So you tell me, based on what we have done, does it have maximum or minimum value?
It has a minimum value.
Yes, it has a minimum value. Then when you justify your value, you're just going to say because it has a positive a value.
Yes. Or because a is greater than 0.
I'm not sure if everyone understands that question, but yes. So that's why I was saying, if you don't know how a function that has a minimum value looks like, you might not be able to answer this question. But also, since we are on functions, just always remember that a parabola either has a minimum or a maximum value, and that value you find it at the turning point. So that means this is the minimum value of that, because this is where it makes a turn. It's actually the lowest value of that. So that means this one is going to be the maximum value of that. Does it make sense? Are you receiving there? Or you guys are not receiving? I'm not sure if let's see. Pindi, make sense? Hey, it seems like this test.
100%, sir.
Okay. So now let's move on to that last question. I think also this one, it was a little bit tricky, but I'll just guide you on how you answer that. So for that previous question that we've just done, you give yourself 3 marks in case if you got everything, but I'm just suspecting that not all got it correct. So let's have a look at this last question, being 4.2.2. So this one, it says determine an expression for the nth term in that form of Tn being equals to an squared plus bn plus c. So I feel like this question, it was actually difficult compared to the ones that you guys wrote in grade the ones that grade 11s wrote. This one, it was so it doesn't mean because you're in grade 11 then it's going to be easy, and then when you're in grade 12 it's going to be more difficult. This one is more difficult than the one that the guys wrote in grade 12. So let's see. Hey, it's going to be a bit tricky, this one. This is where you might need to make sure that you get whatever that you can get. Do you guys remember that we just said our A value can easily be calculated, because we know that 2A, it is equals to 2, and then A, it's equals to 1. That's what you guys said. So that means we already have that A value there. So that means actually we are having Tn, which is equals to 1 n squared plus bn plus c. Do you guys agree with what I've just done there? Does it make sense to everyone?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so that means we actually need to find the b value and the c value. But how are we going to find that? I think I remember somewhere they said a term number what? Term number 5, it's equals to 29. And again, term number 17, it's equals to 29. So that means where n is 5, Tn is equals to 29. Why can't I therefore say 29 is equals to 5 squared plus b 5 close plus c? Then maybe I can consider this to be my equation number 1. And do the same for this one. Where n is 17, this is 29. So that means I'm going to have 29 being equals to 17 squared plus b, what is n? It's 17 plus c, and then you do that. So can you guys see? It's more like you now need to solve for b and that simultaneously. It's more like you're now solving for x and y simultaneously. What you can maybe try to do is to make C the subject of the formula, you equate, and then you solve for C, then you go back to B. Then that's how you get your values. You know already this one is 1. You just need to get those two. Maybe let's quickly try to work it out. Let's see. That is 20. What is this? This is 25, I think. So it's more like you're having 29 minus 25, which is equals to 5b plus c. What is this? I think this is 4. Yes, that is 4. I'm not sure if you guys agree with me on that one. That is 4. And then if you want to make C the subject of the formula, that means you will need to take this to the other side. So it's more like you're having negative 5b, it's equals to C. I'm just trying to do that to save some space. So can you guys see? We can maybe say this is equation number 1. It doesn't really matter whichever way you work it out. It's more like, let's not yet call this equation number 1 and make sure that it's simplified first. So that means we'll also have to simplify this one. This thing, Umi, is basically solved for x and y, but in this case, it's b and c. It's the same principle. So now, let's simply, what is 17 squared? I think that one is a bit bigger. 17 squared is, hey, 5 squared, is it 20? Yes, it's 25. Okay, 17 squared is 28 that. So it's more like you are having 29 minus 289, which is equals to 17b plus c. Then what is 29 and that? I think that is what is it? Negative 260 is equals to 17b plus c. Then you take this to the other side, it ends up being what? Negative 260 minus 17b is equals to c. This is when we can call that equation number. Hey, I think I'm losing you guys. I'm not sure if we are still on the same chain. Guys, am I not losing you there? I think I'm losing you. Vuyiswa, am I not losing you there? Sure. No response. Is the message taking forever to deliver? So now,
Please can you explain the whole thing?
Someone is speaking. Who's speaking there? It's tricky, ne?
Please explain again.
Yeah, no, this one is tricky. I agree. It's tricky, but yeah, I think I need to re-explain it. But at the same time, let's not lose the work that we have already done. Maybe let me remove that and do that. Let's say, based on that question that we are given, what information do we have? We know that the second difference is equals to 2, and the formula for that is 2a is equals to 2. Maybe let me ask, we are on the same page on that one, isn't it?
Yes.
And we also know that term number 5 is equals to 29. And also, they said term number 17 is equals to 29. Do you guys agree with me on that one? And they want us to determine equation being Tn is equals to an squared plus bn plus c. Do you guys agree this is what we are looking for? And you do know very well that for us to determine that, we just need to find the a value, the b value, and the c value. But I think we can easily find the a value from the statement there, because we know that 2a is equals to 2, therefore a, Molebogang said a is equals to 1. So that means already we know that Tn is equals to 1 n squared plus bn plus c. Do you guys agree with me on that one up to this stage?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now that means we need to find a B and C. We need to find B and C. And we have this statement which says term number 5 is equals to 29. Let's see how term number 5 looks. So do you guys agree that where I see Tn, I put 29? So I'm going to put 29 there and equate it to where I see n, I'm going to put 5. So that is why I'm having 5 squared there plus b into 5 plus c. Let's simplify that. This squared is 25. So it's more like you're saying 29 minus 25, it's equals to 5b plus C. So let's see. What is 29 minus that? I think that is 4. It's positive 4. Then maybe if you take this to the other side, it becomes minus 4b. And this is equals to C. Then we can take this to be our equation number 1. Then we are done with that. We move on to this one, where they say it is still 29, which is equals to, where I see n, I put 17. So examiner tried to be tricky by using the same value being 29. Sometimes it could have been a different number. It all depends on the type of the number pattern. So let's try to simplify. We are having 29. What is this thing? Let's see. 17 squared is equals to 289. If you take it to the other side, it becomes 289, which is equals to 17b plus c. What is this? Let's see. That we actually get negative 260, which is equals to 17b plus c. So what I was saying is, how about maybe we take this to the other side? So that means we're going to have negative 260 minus 17b, which is equals to c. Then we say this is equation number 2. I'm not sure if I'm still losing you guys up to this point. Maybe let me take a deep breath and check if you guys are not lost. No response. I think maybe the message is still delivering. I'll just be waiting for a response.
Yes, sir, we are following.
But is it everyone who's following Bantu Pakiti?
No, we are following.
So that means we can now, okay. So can you see, we have C, which is equals to that. We have C, which is equals to that. Then we can equate this and that. Where, what is it? So that means 4 minus, maybe this B, let me write it a capital letter because it ends up looking like 56. So that is equals to negative 260 minus 17 B. Then we solve for B. Let's try to solve for B. You take these, maybe let's take that 17 to the other side. It's more like 17B minus 5B, which is equals to, here we have negative 260. You take this to the other side, it becomes a negative 4. So what are these two? 17B minus that. I think that is what is it? 12. Hmm?
B.
Hmm? Hey, 17 minus 5. Why am I finding t? Okay, is 12b. Yes. What is this minus that? Negative 260 minus 4. It's equals to negative 264. Then that means you divide by 12. You divide by 12. What will your b value be? Let's see. Divided by 12. I'm getting negative 22. Yes. Then that means already we got our b value, which is equals to negative 22. So what's remaining? Is there anyone who's able to notice what is it that is remaining?
Sir, your table is not clear.
The screen is blurry on my side. I don't see.
Okay, let me do this. Hey, Bantu Pakit. Are you guys still there?
Yes.
Okay. Moleboge, this is what I was about to say. I actually ran out of battery, but I did not notice. But just to wrap up, I was asking if you guys are able to notice what's left, of which is the C value. I'm not sure. Will you guys be able to calculate the C value based on what we have done?
Oh, after equating, yes, I think we can. Yes, we can.
Yes, after getting the B value, because you now take that B value and substitute it in one of those equations. I think, let's say negative 260. No, where do we equate? Where do we put it? Oh, there. You can either put it on equation 1 or equation 2. I think equation 1, it's easier, where you say 4 minus 5 into negative 2. Whatever that you get is your C value. So what is the C value? Guys, are you still there? Let me try to bring the screen back and see if it can work. Guys, are you still there? Or are you still calculating the C value? Or is it the network?
We are still here. We are calculating the C value.
Silence in court, Heba. Okay. Hey, this is Long Walk to Freedom. Are you guys still calculating?